Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 26th, 2019, and this is the Monday News Brief. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I'm your host again, Nate Iverson, and this is the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. We have a great show for you this week. We're joined by Chamberlain Mayor Chad Mutziger. Chad is going to talk to us about some of the summer projects, the flooding, budgeting, and some of the things he's looking forward to in the fall. Also, we'll be shortening up the Monday News Brief a little bit to split up the sports activities in the area. We'll now be starting the Thursday Sports Special starting at 7 a.m. on Thursdays as well, so stay tuned for that. We'll be starting this week. And finally, as always, if you want to see this story, news, sports, events, and more, be sure to pick up your copy of the Central Dakota Times every Wednesday morning wherever newspapers are sold in Central South Dakota. Let's get to the interview. Chad, thanks for taking some time out of your morning.
Yeah,
it's been a busy time of the year with school
it is,
and the rain and all the other good stuff.
Yeah, it has been.
So I just want to pick your brain on some of the stuff going on in the community, some of the meetings and some of the things being said at meetings. I know you're probably absolutely sick of hearing about flooding, as we all are.
It's getting to that point. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and get the flooding stuff out of the way first. And
Let's do that.
And we'll move on from there.
We can only get better from there.
That's right. So let's just start with some of the earlier problems that we talked about. That little innocent sinkhole that we didn't think was going to be a huge issue ended up to be quite a big issue. Can you just kind of give us an update on what happened and where we're at now?
Down in South Main there, we had a culvert that collapsed underneath the road. And that culvert had been in the ground for years. And as Chamberlain developed, it probably was only 16 feet or 18 feet at one time, but by the time people added more dirt and roads were built, it was now about 26 feet down.
Sure.
So it took quite a bit to get through there and get it done, but we were successful. We got a new pipe through there, so that is flowing as it should now. We still have some cleanup work to do there. I'm not saying that we're done on that project, but we got the main thing done because at that point when it was plugged, it was risking back up into the houses around there. So at least we've mitigated that problem. We have some cleanup work to do, but it turned in from a little project into we had our own Grand Canyon down on South Main, but we'll be as soon as we can filling that back in and making it look back like it used to. So
the sledding hill has less obstacles now. So
that's right.
There's a silver lining. Are you planning on? I know I didn't really notice this when I drove by, but Main Street was kind of starting to sink under the curb on that one side. Is that?
Yep. That's some more of the issues that come with that much water around, and so there's, and you saw it up by the Armory. We had a road kind of collapse up there too. Yep. So we're fixing those as we can. We did a lot of chip sealing and repairing of streets, and they just got soft with that much water. So we'll address those. We'll get those fixed, and we're trying to do as many as we can. And I think we've done a darn good job. The city guys have done a fantastic job of fixing the streets as best we can, and getting them so you don't lose your dentures if you drive over them with potholes.
So knock on wood, I hope that's real wood. We're on the upswing as far as streets and repairs.
I hope so. With that, and it always seems we don't expect these 1, 2, 3 inch rains all the time, and each one that comes brings new challenges and new things rear their ugly head. But we get through them, and that's the beauty of it. Is we have a dedicated employees at the city that, given the time, they'll fix what goes wrong.
Right. And this one's kind of a bummer for me. I know you too. You were a league golfer also.
I was. Not a good league golfer.
Hey, me neither. That's why we golf at 6:30.
That's right.
But I think one of the things that I didn't know this until this year even, that the country club is actually owned by the city, correct? Yes. Can you kind of explain that relationship first, and then we'll get into some of the flood damages and how that plays out.
For those who have lived in Chamberlain for years, and the historians of Chamberlain know this, is when the original golf course in Chamberlain used to be on American Island. And when the Corps flooded the American Island, they kind of did a trade with the city at that time and said, hey, since we're going to flood your golf course and flood this, we'll give you some land to replace it. And if you remember, the old clubhouse used to be on American Island. It was moved over there. It was tore down about 10, 12 years ago when a new one was built. So that is how the city of Chamberlain came to own a golf course in Lyman County. is when they flooded the American Island, and it's worked out. Has the golf course had some issues with flooding over the years? Yeah. They have. But you know what? The golf course, and when I say the golf course board, Sean Powers, the man has done, I don't know if he slept this summer at all. God bless him for the work he does. And I know you interviewed Sean, and he's too humble to take any credit for it, but he's done a tremendous job over there. So every time we think we're ahead and we start making the right steps going forward, the rain comes. They were doing a nice big project, a renovation project over there, and they got done seeding at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was supposed to be some rain coming, so they thought this is perfect. Well, little did we know it was going to be a 3-inch gully washer, and it wiped all of the grass seed away, and so they've had to start over. So they've had some issues over there, but we're getting through them.
Sure. So, and then I know this was noted in some of the papers, our paper especially. There was kind of some discussion back and forth about some of the money going into the country club and some of the issues and how it always feels like not necessarily a money sink, but it's kind of always there.
It's we do there is money that goes into the country club every year.
Sure.
But we expect that.
Yeah.
Do we expect to have to put a new bridge in, and do we expect to flooding like we have? No.
Right.
Nobody can expect that. So when those unexpected expenses come is when we have to take a look at it. But proud to say that we got the new bridge, and as I said in the last time we talked, and maybe not, there was a generous donation made by a couple community members to help purchase that new bridge that was put in there.
Okay.
And so we're excited about that. There's going to be a new bridge put in when they finish the new number 8T, or green. There's another bridge that needs to go in there, so we have that bridge ordered. So it's ready to go. It'll be arriving sometime in October. We want to get that up this year, so we want to get everything done. And here's kind of our theory is let's take our lumps this year, and then so we can start fresh next year.
Sure.
With all of the bridges in place, the grass is done, everything. And so unfortunately this year I think the beauty is you can still golf 6 holes if you want to go out there. You can golf 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So you can still get out and enjoy the golf club, and Carol still is out there, has the kitchen open, and I still say she's got some of the best burgers in town, and if you want a great breakfast, good place to go. So the kitchen and restaurant part is open too. So we're getting there. It's going to be, this year's been a rough one, but we're hoping next year, as you said, hopefully this is real wood, knock on wood, we'll start the year fresh.
Right. And so maybe then this is just maybe chalked up to frustration with kind of the year, but there was kind of just some mentionings of privatization of the country club. Yeah. Chalk that up to frustration.
Well,
more
I mean, and you read some people, you hear some people say, well, why don't you just move it to a higher ground that's not going to flood? I wish it was that easy to do. Yeah. Just a few years ago, we put an all-new irrigation system in there. We have a new clubhouse. All the work that they're doing right now. So to move it, you got to find the land and buy the land, which land is
not cheap.
They don't just give it away. Then you have to reestablish everything. Yep. And so you're looking at several millions of dollars at that point. And for a golf course that's open 4 or 5 months out of the year, it's hard to put that type of investment into it. We have a fantastic golf course over here. And we've had many years in a row where we didn't have the flooding issues, and everything's been perfect. This has been one of those hopefully rare years. And so, there's some frustrations come up, absolutely. We know people love to golf, and we as a city understand the value of having the golf course in our community, not just for the people that live here, but also the people that come and stay here at the campgrounds and at the hotels. That's a draw. There's a lot of people that don't always want to be on the river, they want to go golf too. And so we understand there's a huge value in having that golf course there. Right. So we're going to do everything we can, and like I said, we're allocating the dollars where need be. Sean is doing everything, and we do send guys over when Sean calls and needs the help. It's just been so darn soft right now that to put too heavy equipment out there has been a challenge.
Just sink right in.
Yep.
So, They do make the best Bloody Marys too. I swear. I
I-
swear by that.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go try one now. It's
I'm
a
gonna
challenge.
throw a bone there.
It's a
So.
challenge.
All right. Last flooding question.
Yes.
All right. East King and 344th Street, the highway up on the hill moving south, is slightly flooded, you could say, for a couple hundred feet down there by the airport. One of the things that was noted in last week's meeting was that the county would not be assisting with that issue. Can you kind of elaborate on how that conversation went?
Well, you know, we like to think that's an attractive water feature, but it's really not. It's just a tough situation. You know, the airport, we had before the rains came, there was a wet area there, about a 40-acre wet area. It's now spawned to about a 300-acre wet area, wetland, and which has caused some of the flooding going over the road. But it's not just the airport that's wet; it's the other properties around there as well that the city doesn't own. The city has a pump out there, and we've always had a pump out there.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, the pump we have out there just cannot keep up with the amount of water that's coming into that. We're running a new pump from Sioux Falls. We'll have that in hopefully end of this week.
Okay.
That'll help mitigate the water a little faster, but we can only go as fast as long as it doesn't back up into the rest area, because that pipe goes through that area. But you know, we're doing everything we can. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's going to be some water over the road for the foreseeable future. You know, and as far as the county, I wouldn't say that they're not going to help. It's just right now they don't have pumps bigger than what we have,
Right.
and you know, we're all in this together type mentality
Sure.
with this flooding. So we'll continue to do what we can, and hopefully we'll get that water off the road soon, because
Sure.
it's not a safe thing, and obviously it's not something we want.
Right. So really, it's more of kind of a resource problem as opposed to a.
Well, and even the resource, you know, and the pump we're renting, I mean, it doesn't. It's not free. They don't just say, here, use it. There's going to be an expense that comes to the city to help mitigate that, and you know, and when your land sits low, everybody else's land water flows into that. So we're mitigating water from the neighbors, which is it just happened. That's a natural flow of the land. So it's going to take some while to get all that water moved and somewhere else. And as I said, you know, we can't just force it to somebody else's land. You know, could we pump it over to Red Lake? Possibly, but all that's going to do is raise the level of Red Lake, and then it's going to cause problems for landowners over there. So we don't want to do that, and we're not doing that. So water, as you started out this conversation, water has been an issue for everybody.
Right.
And hopefully we can find a week or two of dry weather, and nothing's better than sun and wind to help dry things up.
That's right. So cool. And this is more of, I guess, not necessarily a resource problem. Some more land, some more nature issues. The 1 million gallon tank, for people that aren't familiar, what is it? Why is it important to address this issue? And how do the landowners that are surrounding the area feel about the work being done?
The 1 million gallon tank sits up on, I believe it's 13th up there. I call it out by Pizza Hut, Mi Pueblo out in that area. You can see it up there. As you can tell, the 1 million gallon tank, it's a big tank.
Yep.
For those who have lived in Chamberlain for quite a while, they'll remember the Passions house used to sit out there, and it kind of moved down the hill, and eventually had to be tore out. The land had been stable up until this year, and then all of a sudden we've noticed some sliding, and if we lose that tank, that once again is a major issue. So we're already doing some things to mitigate that. We don't own the land around it. We own the land that the tank sits on, but we don't own the land around it.
Okay.
We're working with the people who own it, and the land is for sale, and we've made an offer. There's just a little issue that's kind of slowing it down.
Sure.
More in the defining who owns the land.
Okay.
So it's nothing the city has any issue in. It's just the people who were selling land maybe didn't own all the pieces that they thought they did, and so it's now being worked out between the landowners that own that land. Worst case scenario, if we need to, we'll declare an emergency and go in and fix that to help stabilize that tank. But everything right now, we're concerned about it, but it's not red flag concerned yet.
Right.
But we sure as heck don't want to lose that tank. And the landowner issue is just simply they need to work it out amongst them and make sure we're buying land from the people who we're supposed to be buying
Right.
it from. So
Something that was caught ahead of time. More or
Yep,
less.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So, right on. And then lastly, let's go to budgeting. Super fun topic, right?
Yep.
2020 budget is coming up. That's been
Mhm.
a conversation for the last month or so, give or take.
Yep.
One of the things that was noted was that there's still some issues to be worked out with the budget, and I'm assuming this probably happens semi-regularly.
Mhm.
Making numbers work, and the third penny tax.
Yeah.
Can you first of all just explain some of the issues that are going on, or some of the things that the city is trying to work out, and then follow that up? What are some things that maybe people are requesting budgets can do better to sort of make that more efficient?
Sure. The budgeting process is a real fluid process. We ask all the groups that are asking for funds from the city to come in ahead of time and make their requests. So we can take their requests and try and fit them into the budget.
Right.
So we have our first reading of the budget actually will be at our first meeting in September. So when we take that information that they provide us and try and fit it into our budget, and then this year with our sales taxes down a little bit, and then we had that sales tax that the state pulled back on us about 80,000 for basically a mistake on the state's behalf, left us with a little less funding than what we're used to. So trying to accommodate the requests from the groups, also with meeting the city's needs, it's always a balancing act. And,
Sure.
and I'm not going to say that I take an active role in it, but Nikki and Greg Powell, Nikki Galke and Greg Powell, the finance officer and engineer, they do a tremendous job and amount of work and massaging the budget
Sure.
to try and make everybody happy. And there's times, unfortunately, where we can't. When you ask what groups can do to help the process better, we always love to see a profit loss statement that's accurate and depicts everything. And we also like to see what last year compared to this year, what you're budgeting for last year, so we can see things. But we try and work with those groups, and they've been very good. It's a process.
Right.
And right now we're over budget a little bit for next year's, so we'll work on that we have a meeting next Monday, a budgeting meeting, and we'll get those numbers figured out. It is what it is. Your first run of the budget is never really right on, and it takes a couple tries to get it perfect. And like I said, we want to make sure that the groups that are requesting, we can hopefully do as much as possible to help them as well with their budget requests, and while also meeting the demands of the city. So
Absolutely. That pretty much brings it to the end of my list. Do you have anything you'd like to add as far as projects coming up that the community might be interested in? Or
this is always a fun time of year. We have a lot of projects that we do through our rec program. We have a youth football program starting up right now. Always a ton of fun, and what they do, the tackle and the flag football, and that's open to both boys and girls.
Sure.
I don't want anybody to think it's just a boys program. It's boys and girls, and the start of the school year is always fun, and I look towards the partnerships that we do with the city, with the school, with homecoming coming up, and making sure that's a fun experience for the kids, but also a safe experience. And so the Teal Glaus and Jason Officer Handel, they do a great job of working with those kids for homecoming to make sure that they're not overstepping their bounds, but also make sure that everybody's safe and having fun. And so it's a great partnership we have with the school. I love this time of year. And then, of course, we have snow coming at some point, but we're looking to finish up strong, and hopefully we get some dry weather. We have a good pheasant season coming up, hopefully, and as I said, back to school time, and I'm looking forward to that first football game on Friday night, and then volleyball and cross country and everything, and golf that's going on right now.
Here we go again.
That's right. So no, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Chad, thanks for taking the time out.
Absolutely.
And we'll hopefully have you on again soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Monday News Brief by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. If you like this content and want to see some more, feel free to check out our new website, www.centraldakotatimes.org. We're also available on Facebook by searching Central Dakota Times, or on YouTube at our brand new channel, Central Dakota Times Newspaper. We'd love to have you become an online YouTube subscriber, like our Facebook page, and join us on our website. Thanks for stopping in again, and we'll see you next week.